So after about 2 years, Boris's old interior was definitely getting a bit cramped and outdated. Time to do version 2. It took about 8 days in total, and this video is about the whole build. I filmed it all, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So let's go and check it out. So here we go, the last moment that this interior is like this. A few bits being salvaged for the new one, the new orientation, which will be better for my sort of the way I camp and everything like that. But yeah, time to say goodbye to the interior like this, get cracking.
And as I said earlier, it just was time after 2 years of us trying to cram into the back of this. Nowhere to sit apart from crossing your legs, as you can see, on the wood. If it was raining, it would be even harder to try and get yourself in there. Getting outside on the cold, wet mud, having to change the bed from the outside, and it just wasn't refined. I rushed it for a trip to France that we did a few years ago, and it just stayed like that. You can see it's not ideal, and it just got a little bit tired, outdated, and I just didn't like the look of the grey carpet anymore. All quite dark sort of tones, and just nowhere to be, which is just a bit of a shame. So, as you can see, I'm just taking everything out. Took a little bit of time, maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes, but that was a lot quicker than putting the new stuff in. It all came out quite nicely, but did leave a bit of insulation.
And there we go. As you can see, everything's been ripped out. I just did a time lapse, as you would have seen, and I explained it all, and it's ready for the next step. Actually, just first I need to take this headlining out and the speakers out just to take the roof off. And what we'll be doing is along here, replacing the seals that surround the tub and the front of the windscreen, and then just doing any bits and pieces to prevent water from coming in. So along from behind me here, this line, mainly on that side actually, when you go through puddles and rain and whatever, water actually flows, not quite flows, comes in through the seal there because it's perished a bit, and that's not good for when you're trying to camp inside. And so what it's doing is running in, and I've had to have a tarpaulin down underneath the camping area and let the water run underneath that and down onto the floor here where your feet are, and that keeps everything dry, but it's just a bad solution, just letting water come in and run under a tarpaulin. It's been like that for a few years, and that is not ideal. But Boris is not a perfect specimen and never will be, so this sort of refit will be a Mark II. It won't be perfection, but it's going to have a bit more bench seat here, and I'm looking forward to it. So tomorrow, BHE Autos, I'll take you there and you'll see it all being resealed. We'll get cracking on getting it all back together again, so be good.
Off up to Ben's then, we took the sides out. As you can see, Ben came up with that great wooden sort of upright truss method to hold it all up. The two sides came out pretty easily. All that needed to be done was cure this rust, grind it all away, then use some Hammerite cure rust on it, and then later on I primed it with some rust preventing primer as well. This will just help to keep the water out, and just it's good for longevity.
So, a new day, rocked up to Brickwells for my seals. Finally got them now. A bit of a mistake yesterday in the planning and everything like that, but here we are. Look at the new 110 over there. You see the black one, that's exciting. Obviously with the new 90 as well, not new 110. The new old Defender, and then a new Defender as well. But yeah, nice to be back here. Gonna grab the seals and hopefully wrap up Boris today. So good to get everything done. Everything's come into alignment, and I had a lot of help from friends, so that's been great.
Now that I had the seals, all it was time to do was to put the seals on and the sides back in and wrap everything back together. There's about 50% of the nuts and bolts missing, so we tightened it all back up, and it's better than ever.
So here we are, day one of the build. I'm in the garage. Got all of the materials that I need. Behind the camera there's a lot more fixings, insulation, clamps, all the bits and pieces. I'm a bit apprehensive about this. I've been for a little while. Still not fully planned out. I'm going to sort of have this idea in my mind. I've obviously got a photo that I'm using as a sort of inspiration guide for what I want it to look like, which is this.
This really was just inspiration. As you'll see later, it didn't go completely to plan, but a lot of style tips taken from this great company.
As people say, starting's always the hardest bit, and I definitely feel like that at the moment. Got 5 sheets of ply from 18, 12, and then 4 bits of 5.5. Got some engineered oak floorboards there. Got some real oak boards to make a countertop. Behind that, lots of batten strips and edging. metal strips to hold things together. I've got some piano hinge, some ribbed cheap carpet there. I've got a nice sort of centimetre thick insulation. Another part of insulation very thin, this is to go sort of under the flooring. Over here I've got, these are actually a mistake, these are foam. They were meant to be the sort of bitumen soundproofing, but we'll use those anyway. Clamps, pencils, magnetic holders for doors, more clamps, brushes, more hinges, stain, varnish, obviously the tools that we need. Just going through everything. Corner, clamps, a bowl to be a sink. Just it goes down and down, down more and more and more. Carpet glue, all the stuff. Everything is here needed. I bought 2 new tools specifically for this job, hopefully to be able to use them in the future. A sander and a jigsaw. Don't have any other saws apart from a hand saw to cut the straight lines, so gonna have to try and cut everything straight with a jigsaw, which some people might laugh at, especially 80mm ply. But yeah, look at this. I'm just sort of standing here with a coffee and waiting to get started really. I think first things first, what I need to do is go into the back, sort of take a deep breath and just get going really. The plan for today, just trying to take it easy, not rush, because that's what I do and usually it goes a little bit wrong. So what I need to do is clean this all up, probably get the angle grinder with the wire brush attachment, clean off all the rust, corrosion, just a little bit. And I was thinking about hammerwriting it just to give it a nice layer to hold on to. I think maybe what I'll do instead is just cure rust it and then put a layer on top, because hopefully now it's all waterproofed. And then after I've cleaned that up, maybe protected it with something, is go in and then start looking at this old sort of terrible insulation here and taking off as much as I can, and then getting that centimetre thick insulation going over the whole roof, some of the side panels down here. And I need to think about what I'm going to do here, because obviously I need to sort of stick the wooden panelling down here and here. So I don't want, if you've got insulation, it's going to stop it from adhering down properly. So I need to think about that as well. So then. Cool. So just spent about 15-20 minutes going through a battery and a half on the Milwaukee grinder. And it doesn't look any different now. Just try to grind off all that corrosion and then get as much of that rust off as possible. And now I'm just going to hit it up with the Hoover and then wash it and then hit it with the wet vac and then see what to do next. I think probably going over it, seeing what it actually looks like. I will paint it, which is a bit of a pain, means it has to dry, so it halts me a bit, but I'm hopefully going to try and make something else while that is dry. I just gave it a wash with fairy liquid, a lot of pooling foamy water down the bottom, all really dirty. Sponge that out and then going around and dry it all with a microfiber. Now I've just got the fan, got the door open just a slight bit, so it warms up in here, really dries nicely. Obviously still looking pretty terrible, but it's a lot better than it was. All this, even though there's a bit of like surface rust left, it was all like pitted, there's even a couple of holes in a bit, you know. In a perfect world I'd replace this, but slightly short time scale, and I could bring it up in the future, you know, the floor could just come up and then replace that. But what I'm going to do for now is go over with some cure rust on the iron bits, the steel bits, sorry, and then go over with some non-ferrous metal primer to try and get rid of some of this corrosion, and then go over with hammerite, hopefully. So that's next. So that's the current state of it all. Obviously can't get all of it off, and there's also this gunk that used to be here. Not sure what that is. This is really like adhered still after 3 years. I'm just going to leave that there and go over the top. Anything that's loose is coming off, but anything I can't get off I'm not going to be too meticulous about, because there's going to be boards over there and it'll be held up there pretty much. And I just make sure to use a brake cleaner to get it down properly, but yeah, just need to get those 3 off now.
What a way to start the build, stripping off this horrible insulation that I put up there years ago. It was finally time for it to go, but just was very boring.
So right here I've got my insulation, as you can see. It's probably about, I think it's 7mm, but it looks about a centimetre thick. That's about how thick it is. It's a shame I don't have any of that soundproofing mats, that deadening stuff. They sent the wrong thing, or it's just they're trying to rip people off. But yeah, as you just saw, I have all of this taken off. I was going to go over with hammerite. Let me show you it all. I was going to go over with hammerite, but actually the cure rust is a nice thick layer on there. That's cured the rust, and this primer is a anti-corrosive
layer. So just gonna go like that for now. It means I can carry on. If I want to do it just before I put the wood down, I might do, but just gonna focus on doing this now. Try and get some insulation on there, get some brake clean up there to clean off anything I can, and then just lay over with this stuff, and then come all the way down onto the side here, and then work out what we're gonna do on here, here, and then here. Nice. So there you go, just as I was doing the insulation. That should be the mattress, I'm hoping. Sounds about right. I can go to the upholsterer soon. Found some fabric yesterday, but now back to the insulation.
This new stuff is foil backed, centimetre thick foam, quite high density with adhesive backing on it so you can stick it straight up. What I used to have was a grade loft insulation, foil again, but you had to make pillows out of it. It was very thick, it didn't stick to the roof, and it was just a nightmare to take anything up or down, and it also pushed the headliner down loads, so it was just time for it to go really. I meant to put soundproofing insulation here. Unfortunately, foil and foam stuff came for this part of it, but it worked anyway. I put another layer on top and we were fine in the end.
So a little bit of a status update. What I'm doing now, I've just cut the planks for the ceiling strips. Oh, it's a bit bright there. Let me have a look at that. These are just tongue and groove pine strips, ready to go in the back. I cut them to 194, and they will go along the top. I did want to use some different type of wood, but yeah, this sort of pine is nice and thin, easy to like manipulate. It's bendy, and I can just stain it like oak. Hopefully, it won't look like oak, but it will look pretty good. So I'm just going to screw them up there. Oh, there's the insulation as well, by the way. All insulated as much as I can, really. Might do a little bit more on the sides when it actually comes to putting the boards in. I just have run out for now, so pretty good for like an hour or so's work, maybe a little bit less. Happy to have that done. Now I'm going to screw these in with all of this.
One of the most asked questions I've had through Instagram posts while building this project was the ceiling and how I did it. All it is some narrow planks of tongue and groove, just pine, very cheap, cut them to size, and as you can see, I'm just screwing them to that middle ribbed batten there that runs across the roof. You want to make sure that they're nice and straight along the top, otherwise as you get to the other end, it's a bit wonky. But that's all it takes, is just sliding the tongue into the groove, screwing it up there, and supporting it at the front as well.
Day's going well and truly stuck in now. Slightly less nervous about getting started because I have started. As you've seen, I put half of the roof in. Here's the second half I just cut. There you go. Looking pretty good. I like it. Obviously it's quite, common. This is what a lot of people do, but obviously it works. Really easy to put in. Very piney at the moment, but hopefully we'll stain it oak and it'll look good. At the moment, these bits here are quite like flimsy because you can't screw them in this end because there's that. So what I'll do is make a bit of ply here and then glue it at the top, and hopefully that'll hold it in place. But the front and the middle is held in, and it's looking good. Let's get cracking on this bit. So here you go. Here's the next panel to go in. Just put 2 of these nice LED lights. These are warm white, exactly the same as the last ones I had on the headlining, but this time they're black, not silver. I just thought I'd go for something a bit different, and I think they look cool. Just going to offset it. As you can see, I've got sort of another quarter or a third to go, and I'm going to have the lights over to the right on this time, and then the other 2 lights inside the sort of counter area. So it'll be slightly different this time, but it'll still look cool, I hope.
On this last piece, I had to cut it at a slight angle. As I said, it was a bit wonky, but not too bad. Then it was time to move on to the floor. Measured it out, cut it in the sun. This massive bit of ply was easy to cut with a jigsaw. Cut the end off, and it was time to slot it in.
So here we are, a little bit later. Cut this board down to size. I accidentally, I could say I did this bit on purpose so that it could fit in here nice and easy under here. And I put the bit in the end, but accidentally I cut it wrong because I held the tape measure upside down and I read 194, but it was actually 164. So I just put a little bit on the end down there. Underneath there's a bit of rubber. Let's see if I can show you. A bit of rubber that came with Boris actually, and then 2 layers of sort of hardwood underlay that I got from a flooring shop. Just goes down. I've sort of put some spray glue between, just to not to hold it down, but just to
keep it all together a little bit. And this is nice, just really thin, 5.5mm ply, really cheap sort of stuff. And this is just as a base to put the hardwood flooring on, which is about probably 15mm thick, so it's going to be nice and strong. So this is just for it to like glue down onto, just as a base really, and then that will be the strength, but it's just so it's nice and uniform and something to go onto. So putting that in, gluing it down is next.
I used engineered flooring. These boards have got a sort of tongue and groove on the side as well. I slotted them in next to each other with glue on. They sort of wanted to come up because of the slot, so I nailed them down, as you can see. Took a bit of time to do this. It was a little bit difficult, but got there in the end, and the result was worth it. Oops. There's that final panel going in, that was slightly smaller. Measured it up, and that is time to nail that one down as well.
There we go, end of day one. Gave the workshop a bit of a tidy up. Obviously it's not perfect because I'm going to be going tomorrow morning, but let's have a look at what we've done. Obviously you saw everything that happened, but let's just recap. The ceiling in with insulation behind and lights up, insulation on the walls, ran out a little bit, got some down there as well. Rust removed and corrosion removed, rust proofed, and also got some anti-corrosion primer on there as well. Dropped down some sound deadening with the rubber and 2 layers of foam, and then stuck down this hardwood flooring, this oak hardwood flooring, onto the base. Had to use grip fill glue and some panel pins as well. Was a little bit tough. Hopefully you'll see in the time lapse if I can use any of it that it was pretty tough. A little gap to the left, but generally it looks pretty good. It's a little bit more grey than I was expecting, but actually I'm quite happy with the look. It's nice and light and not too dark, which is great. So carry on tomorrow morning, and yeah, I'll see you then. So morning everybody. Today is quite a different day to yesterday. Lovely, bright and sunny. And then today we have rain, lots of rain, which is unfortunate, but obviously thankfully we've got this. So this is where I'm up to. I just bought some of this 5mm underfloor foam board, which is going to help with insulation and a bit of sound deadening. Nice and thin, so it doesn't affect anything in the widths too much. And I'm just going to stick it down with some no more nails type glue, scrape it down, and then stick it, and then go from there. Start doing the same thing again, but with wood. And then yeah, that's where we'll be next. So I'll give you a little update. I took my 12mm bit of ply off here, cut the end off so I could sort of manipulate it a bit easier, and then cut a 34cm strip off this side, which means I can actually get through. You know, this space here is not the biggest for cutting things, but at least I've got it. And what I did, as you probably saw just then, I laid it down, glued it, and then made sure it's nice and flush with this edge, so when the next bit goes on up here, then it will hold really nicely. I've got 10 kilos on both sides and then some paint in the middle to hold it down, and then that's stuck down with this glue. And that's working really well actually. As I was just doing it, a van turned up with another roll of insulation. I thought that was all of it that I had the other day, but obviously they sent it in 2 batches and it came on a completely separate day, so I've got a whole extra roll of 5 meters, which is interesting. So I'll make sure to use that up wherever I can, and get it nice and insulated in some more places as well. Glad I've got that, but could have been good when I was actually insulating. So I think it's been a little while since I updated. Got the top of the bed bit there, an 80mm ply gluing down right now. The side bit over here, I think you've seen it already. And also now just making this cardboard template, which will be the same size as the door. Gonna have 2 of them. About one there, 20 centimeters down another one. These are 50 by 17. Got a sort of a worked out thing. Just made a template, so now I can draw around it. I'm gonna have to cut it out on here, unfortunately, because I glued this in and forgot about these. So we'll have to see how we go. Try and do it as neatly as possible. Hope it looks okay. Yeah, this stuff was very heavy, very thick, so it's good for the bed. But yeah, that's where that came from. That's what we're doing. So there's the 2 holes. Done one longer, one slightly shorter, because the bench bed will come out as far as that second hole and wouldn't be able to open all the way, so I've left that gap there so the cushion can be higher than the cupboard door and still open. And here's one of the doors. This one I've just done the rough sand on with 60 grit and the sander there. Just gonna sort of clamp it to the side of this, and this is looking okay. Just want to go down to maybe like a 240 or 120, finish that one off there, and then I've just got this one to do. What I also need to do is sort of finish off the inside of this one as well, because obviously I did it in place. Looks pretty rough, and I don't have a file, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. Maybe do some hand sanding, see how we go with that. So I'm about to use this 32mm stepper drill bit to drill a hole here on that mark, and then that will mean I'll have a hole to grab and pull it out, because I'm going to be using like a magnetic stopper. So just pull out, and here's one I made earlier, like Blue Peter, and that is sanded. A little bit overboard on the back, but that is the back, so it doesn't matter. Drilled the hole and then sanded it by hand to make it nice and smooth. That looks pretty good, so do the same one there. So there we are, that's where we are so far. I just put that little backboard in there, that's where the bed will sit on the back, and I'll have a few more here and here, sort of like an L shape. What else have I got? That's the front bit of the bed. That bit will be along there, it's about a 50 centimeter bit. That'll be a folding, nice bit of cupboard, nice there for storage. You've got the doors on top of there as well, and here is the oak I'm going to glue together, and that will make this nice countertop. At the moment it's like 21 and it needs to be about 30 centimeters width, so what I'm going to do is cut 1 meter out, 2 meters, and then glue them together on a piece of ply, and that will make sure that they're nice width, and then I'll cut it out properly and sand it. But very nice wood this, so I need to be careful. So there we go, end of day 2. Just put those 2 bits of oak together with some ply on the bottom. Use some ply with some screws just to make sure that it holds together while it's gluing, and might keep it like that while it's actually done. Those look like nice bits. I probably didn't realise I'd got some of this milling marks in it, so I actually need to cut it so it'll be about that wide, which is about 28, which would be perfect for up there. So that'll look good in the end. Just cuts with the jigsaw really well, actually. Brilliant that I got that jigsaw for all of this. Happy with the progress from today. So here we are, day 3 of the build. What, half a day today, and it's 8 AM now. There's lots of people around, so I don't want to be making too much power tool noises. So what I'm going to do is insulate along here, and then the same on that side, and then insulate like probably the back airs a little bit, because my new roll of insulation turned up along here, along there. And then after that, see where we get to. Maybe start doing some carpeting in some areas, but by the time I've done that, it might be 9:30, so could do some more cutting. Obviously got the bed to build here. I've cut the top of this part, but I just need to build the structure for it all to lay out on. But sunny today, not raining, which is good, so it's a good start. So here you go, here's a little bit of the box I just made. It's all just sort of sitting, I need to glue it all in and nail it all in. So that will be like the head of the bed effectively. And this would be good for storage, you can chuck stuff in there if you need. And just need to put the gluing, screws, and also some more supports in here as it's just wobbly still. So just took them apart, so let's put that together now.
So here we are. Technically, this is day 4, but on day 3, we only had the morning, didn't get all that much done, and this is day 4, and it's the evening. It's 7 now. I just spent the last hour listening to some music, and I'm sort of not excited to show you because it's not very neat, but I just lined up all the wires, connected them all back up again, and just used some of that aluminium tape to put them all into place so I can get the back on. There's the connector for the water system that comes down there. Not the nicest job, but that's not me. I'm not a wiring expert. Maybe one day I will be. Ian at IRB Developments definitely will be taking the piss. I also put some expanding foam up behind those corners there, and I've taped them down so that they pull down nice and tight. Same there. Obviously expanding foam is pretty hard to, keep neat, so it doesn't look great, but obviously there'll be a piece of ply there anyway. That's the progress I've done this evening. Now I'm going to go inside and use the bit of time I've got in the workshop to just go and have a look at the small little sink, which is actually here. This is my tiny sink, literally the size of your hand, just to like rinse cups, brush your teeth in, and do all that sort of thing. So I'm going to go in now and hopefully put the plug in. So I didn't really film much of this, as it's pretty simple. Just got a part of this hardwood strip. Doesn't feel very hard. It's a nice wood though, it's quite soft. Cut a bit of a strip off out of that and gave it a nice smoothing down, hand sanded the edges to make them nice and smooth, and then cut 4 holes. Slightly too big unfortunately, so I have to glue them. For these black switches here, these are the ones will be for the lights. Nice push buttons, and they will be recessed into there. Just going to varnish it up now and then glue them in and it'll be done. So here we are back again. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since you last saw me. This looks exactly the same as you remember, and I've just not been able to get along with it that much really. Haven't been able to do any further progression, but today is a day. As you can see, it has been raining loads, the floor's wet, but the sky's blue, and now hopefully it means we can crack on, and it's good to just get going again. It's funny because you'll be in the video, it'll be the next moment you'll see me doing it, but it's been a long time since I was able to do it, and billing show is coming up soon. That's in maybe 2 weeks, and things just get in the way, I was trying to do it all this week. Monday something happened, Tuesday something else happened, Wednesday today, the rain this morning, and then later I've got bike night, which will be fun anyway. And yeah, I'll stop waffling and we'll crack on, shall we? So I've got a tiny bit of a problem at the moment. My piece of wood, which is here, is almost perfect, and that could go in here and then be cut down the middle to make a sort of lifting lid, and the piece that slides in here. Unfortunately, it's about 1 inch too short this way. So what I've decided to do is make 4 panels instead of just 2. So 4 there, 2 that hinge up, and then 1 that's got a hinge in the middle so it can sit there, and then you can hinge it up if you need to put your shoes underneath or anything like that, and then it can sit up there and still be connected together with a hinge and sort of sit up there. So instead of just going down the middle of that like that, what I'm going to have to do is cut out a square from there, cut out a square from there, cut out a square from there, and cut out a square from there, and then just piece it together the way it should be. It's a bit of a boring way of doing it, but it's the only way, unfortunately. Ply isn't cheap, and it's also very far away, so it's a bit of a problem solver, but we're doing well. It's all good. There you go, that's where we're up to at the moment. I've got a
panel down there. My plan of cutting this piece of wood up into smaller bits worked well. That's what the sort of idea will be. Oh goodness, that will hinge there like that. And then I've got this piece here, which I just couldn't wait, and I put hinges on it already. That will go in down this part here, and I've already, as I said, put hinges on it. Terrible filming, sorry about that. Whee! And then that will sit in there, like that. Perfect, it's pretty much finished. Can sleep on that quite easily. That's the general idea. So you'll have the nice big bed there, and all this soon will be able to be self-supporting. So I'm looking forward to having this bench finally in, and I don't think I'll chuck hinges on it yet like I've done with this, but we'll have the measurements so we can do the bed. So I've just been sanding down and cutting this piece of oak. This had a tongue and groove end on it. Just sanded that back, gave it a nice sort of rounded edge, cut it down to 11 inches. I work in centimeters, millimeters, inches, as I'm sure a lot of people do. That's a nice piece of counter, and then I'm going to cut a hole in the end there for the sink, and yeah, this will look nice. But what I'll do is just show you what the sort of finished product will look like. I'm going to use some white spirit to give it a clean, and you'll see the transformation like this. There you go, look. That's just a bit of white spirit to give it a clean. That will just dry off now, but when it's varnished or oiled, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do. I think probably varnish to stop it from going mouldy or anything, and it's going to be sort of a cooking surface. It's going to look really good. I like it a lot. Let's chuck it in. That is now sort of setting. It's there now, which is nice, that oak top. The hole is cut for the sink. That is glued in. I've even drilled the hole for the drain, and that comes out over behind the back tire, which is quite nice, and you can't really see it at all. Hopefully it's out the way of the mud. As you can see, there's loads of crap all over this, but the bed is pretty much made and held in, all glued into place. There is the hinge bit I showed you, it's just there, and that sits in there nicely, and sits on this edge here. Got it a little bit in the wrong place, as you can see the glue. I have to sandal that off when it comes to finishing it, but at the moment it doesn't look great because it's halfway through, still not cleaned up. I'm going to leave it like this until tomorrow, and then come back to it and try and get a bit more done. For now though, it's a bike night over in a different town, but for this evening we're going to go over to bike night, and see you tomorrow. So as I said, you'll see me in a few moments. For me, I've been to bike night, come back, had a sleep. Now we're ready to go again. Just mocked up this cardboard template to go on the end here. As you can see, I messed up my first one, which is in here. I just sort of rushed it. That side didn't work. Cut a bit, that bit's too much, and that just really didn't work very well. So I decided to do it properly, cut it nicely, and use a tape measure and a ruler and a pencil, and you know, that's a bit better. Obviously it's pushing up against the insulation there, so it can press in a bit. That will tuck in behind there and press against nicely. There's a bit of a gap, but we'll sort that out. I'm going to have one here, I'm going to have one there, and I'm going to have one in the middle on that divider there to sort of break up the two boxes there. But yeah. So here we go, a bit of an update. Just got the varnish out all mixed up. Loads of things I haven't filmed, unfortunately. Stuck some magnets on there. I've got the magnet there, so that will hold that door shut when I mount it all in a minute. About to varnish everything that's sanded. This is all sanded now. Nicely rounded edges, hopefully. They look okay, not too bad. Makes it just a little bit better, it also doesn't catch your fingers. Giving it all a 120 grit sand. I've put the top on, as you saw yesterday. The sides are in, I put on this morning. And I had a piece of pine for the end there, so it's more like this bit's the counter, and that's some more sort of surface. Looks okay. Not sure why I didn't just make it all the way along, but you know, never mind. Now it's time to varnish. Just hoovered everything and washed it all down with some white spirit, and hoping then it all goes well. Not going to do too much, just a nice coating so it doesn't get dirty. Here we go. So right there, I've got two parts of piano hinge to go on these two doors, and this bit here to go on this door here.
I've opted for piano hinge because obviously it's much bigger and stronger. It doesn't need to be strong, but also just holds it nicely. Look nice and neat. It's quite short, so I'll just put a bit in the middle, down the middle, but that'll be enough, and just need to make sure I space it all out nicely. But let's get cracking. So 16 screws later, I think that should be strong enough. We got a hinge. That is really nice and sturdy. What I'm going to do is, once this is all down, get some foam tape to go along these bits of wood, so when it sits down on some foam and doesn't bang around too much. But that looks great. Time for these two. So, end of the second of these 2 days of the build. It's actually coming along. It doesn't look like much has changed, but when you're in person, it does. The walls still need to go on, and carpeting along here, carpet the walls as well. But it is looking pretty good. I'm happy with everything that's coming along so far. Little water place there. The doors are on with the magnetic catches. It's all varnished. The doors work. The rounded edge looks quite cool. It looks alright, I think. It's okay. Better than nothing. But I'm quite happy with what I've done today. These all are ready to go. Quite a lot of storage, and this is one of my favourite bits. Hey, look at that. That's really good. Probably going to paint all in there. Keep the just insulation at the back. Can't really be bothered to put carpet in there. I'll just probably spray it all black in there. But that's nice. Check that out. Shouldn't do it too much as it isn't fully set yet, the glue, but yeah, and the varnishes work nicely. Probably will do another coat on this oak here because it will be a main work surface, but very happy with the progress today. Really cool. So here I've got two, I think it's 6mm sheets of ply, and I'm going to cut a 214 by 52 rectangle out, which will be the two sides. I've just mounted them up, two on top of each other, so when I cut it, you get two. That's what I did it last time for the sides, and it worked really well. So they're just going to go down the sides, and then I've got some carpet here, which looks a bit dull on the inside. It's sort of like a brown, but I've seen it somewhere else, and I think it actually looks really good. So I'm just going to cut that up, hope they fit, and see how we go. Quite difficult to cut, so not very neat edge, but then you've got two. And let's fingers crossed. Let's cross our fingers to hope that they fit. So let's go and try that. Just skipping forward a little bit, just got everything cut out and have mounted the carpet on it. And I think that's looking pretty cool. It's one I've seen before, as I mentioned earlier. Quite a sort of, it's a brown grey, looks more grey as you can see it. But there'll be lots of nice bits and pieces. There's going to be a shelf running along the top and along here. And then hopefully I'll have some, decorations and shelves and things to hold utensils in a cupboard here. So lots of wood going onto it as well, and we'll dress it up nicely. But I think that's really cool. Nice, different from the light grey or dark grey or black. Sort of goes well with the wood, I reckon. So I thought I hadn't been on camera for a little bit now. I'm just sitting here and thinking how much time I've got before billing. I think it's 2 weeks now. I'm going up on the Thursday before to go and see Chris at ORE, help them out, set up the stall up, and hopefully install something quite exciting. Another thing quite exciting actually. But yeah, everything's coming on quite nicely. I've got a list that I keep ticking off. I just put that panel up as you saw, and everything's sort of evolving. Still quite a lot to do, but plenty of time to do it. But I reckon I should keep going quite quickly. Otherwise, you can get a bit behind and things get in the way, and then you find out you've not got enough time, and yeah, stuff like that. Unfortunately, the bed that I've got won't be covered by billing, which is a bit annoying, but I'll be able to use it. I'll cut it up and I can use it, so that's fine. So next up, I think what I'm going to do is sand the piece of wood that goes down on the bed there and make sure that fits. Right, so sorry, I haven't really been doing much filming. I've just sort of been cracking on, and I'll just do updates. As you can see, got the left wall on, and all the wiring coming through, thankfully. And I've done the right carpeting there, as you can see, and then carpeted that wall as well, got that mounted up. Right up there at the end, gluing down, is the shelf there, which actually has worked quite well. Just a piece of ply along, sort of edged it up. Actually, I'll go and have a look at it. With a strip of wood so steep I can actually slide along with like sort of 1 inch piece of strip to sort of support it. Actually, I won't show you that detail because it doesn't look very good. There's a little bit of a gap there, but there'll be headlining up against that on the other side, so you won't notice. Not sure, like the look of this glue all sticking out. Hopefully I can maybe paint back there or carpet it. If not, just
fill it in with clothes and stuff like that to try and hide it, but that's going to be quite handy actually. Might put something else on the front, like some sort of elastic sort of netting, so I can put some stuff in from behind your head. But yeah, that's really good at the moment. Everything's looking really cool. Very happy. Oh, I think I've got another update actually. I did this one evening after I got back from the range. I just painted in there grey with a spray can. Really unneat, but you know, better than just having plain wood. Same in there, sort of goes as far as you can see. And again, I won't go too far because it's not the neatest job, but still coming along nicely. And just going to crack on. Still need to do this bit here. That's quite important actually, so maybe that's next. So this is quite a janky way of gluing this telephone piece in here. So that's that piece going in there. Lots of gaps. Really not perfect. It's quite a hard thing to measure and put in actually. So I'll try and fill in those gaps there. But this is the way of gluing it, the roof down to that, is by putting it down on some screws, on some wire, onto a bungee, onto a dumbbell. Do not copy this. Read you out the jackass professionals spiel. I'm not a professional, I'm just an idiot, so don't copy me. So a long day of grinding away at the inside again. Sorry for not doing much filming. I'll just do a recap of today, and as I said before, I'll try and get the GoPro out soon to do some time lapse. Up behind that strip there is a little LED strip there, so hopefully when you come away from it, there'll be a nice glow down there. So when you turn these off, which are sort of the more the utility lights, that'll glow down there. That'd be a nice sort of thing for reading or going to bed. That'd be nice. I've got the two shelves up. Not like the hugest fan of the way they look, but you know, they work well, I'm sure. They're shelves, you know, and we'll be putting like rolled up blankets and different bits and pieces up there. That'll make it look a bit better. What else have I done today? I finally sanded and finished that. That has a little notch there now to sit on it, because it's a little bit, that edge was a little bit thin, so I put that bit on there as well. What else have I done? Nothing. That actually took quite a bit of the time. Well, what am I missing? These side walls, they were a bit of a pain. They weren't too bad. Accidentally carpeted the wrong side. Thankfully I could adjust it. But a nice sort of wooden strip there to sort of break up the carpet side to side. I'm hoping to have some more bits and pieces on there. Obviously want to lean against there, so you don't want too much, but I do have my Exmoor trim storage thing. Not sure if I'm going to use that anymore. Maybe see if I can put it somewhere else. I'm going to have the ORE sort of molly panel down the end there with the bags on. That'll look good as well. It's all come together though. I'm pretty happy with the progress so far. Put these finishing strips down here all the way around. From about here it looks good, but if you get too close it's a little bit unneat, which isn't the best. But I'm happy with everything. Everything's going well. The list's getting ticked off. That will sit up there as a sort of backing, sort of back for the sofa. There's a cushion to go on there, and then that can come down here for if you need to sleep, which is good. That's the day's wrap up, and I'll see you tomorrow.
So good morning everybody, another day in paradise down here with Boris, which is pretty good. We skipped yesterday, had a few things to do, so I didn't do anything yesterday at all. Monday was a pretty productive day, as you saw in the update on the end of Monday. Car going past. Unfortunately on Monday I didn't film that much, and it's sort of been the same for the last few days, but as you can see here, we're going back to having the GoPro rig up, so it can last all day and film lots of time lapses, because I know that's quite a good part of it, which is pretty good. Today, just going to sort of start to do the end, really, the beginning of the end, I'd say. Planning on getting the covers for the mattress pretty soon. That's something I haven't showed you yet on the YouTube video. Cut the mattress the other night at 9 PM. I was sort of bored on the evening, so I just came down here and did it quite quietly so I didn't disturb the neighbours. That's all cut up now, which is nice, and it's actually really comfy to sit and lie on, and yes, I've tested it. Just look at my long list of stuff to do. Let's have a look. I might be able to get it done today. I don't know. I think what I'm doing now, because it's 7:45, don't want to upset anyone in the neighbourhood. Sanding or cutting, I'm going to start doing the electrics with the electrics panel, which is down here. Let me just show you that quickly. I made this probably a few weeks ago. You may have seen it, I can't remember if I've shown you or not. There you go. Made that one a little while ago, just out of a piece of hardwood, varnished it, cut the holes, laid those in there, just push button switches. Wrong fan. They do light up.
I think, but I'm not going to have it lighting up. Don't need that. I'd like it to light up when you press it, but I think it's going to be lit up all the time. I'm not going to have that, so I'm just going to have a nice black switch. So that's next, I'd say. Electrics for the whole back of the thing. Rear window surrounds. So instead of doing wood around the rear little windows, I was just going to get some insulation, cut a window shaped hole, and put carpet over it. Below the left hand windows, you look out the back door. Below that space where the back of the reversing light and the brake light, make a cover for there. Curtains. That's something that's a little bit of a funny one. I think I'm not going to be camping in the truck at billing, so might not need them for billing. ORE panel, that's up on the wall here. It's been up here for a little bit. There it is. That's a molly panel that goes sort of to the left there, goes about there, and that's a nice sort of place where you could sort of put bags and bits and pieces and stuff like that, which is pretty good. That'll go in. Outside paint, and there's a few dings and bangs, and Boris is looking a bit scraped up, so I've got some Arles blue paint from Paintman Paint to brush paint over some bits and pieces. That's not the camper van though. Entry strip, a piece of metal, which is just over here, sort of L-shaped piece of metal to go on the back. So as you get in, you step on a piece of metal rather than the edge of the floorboards, and also it finishes off nicely. It's pretty easy. Left cupboard. That was one thing I was going to do, which is sort of further down towards the passenger seat on the countertop. I was going to build a cupboard there, sort of where the Jackery sits. That one there, the big one, the Jackery 1000 would sit, and sort of enclose it and then have some shelves above, but that just hasn't happened. And also the walls sort of slanted there, so I'm not sure that's really going to work. Finishing trim. Wow, this is really getting quite close actually. That's it on the list. Finishing trim just being a few bits of wood here and there to sort of close up all the ends, any hard edges, any gaps I've had. I'll add actually, I bought some foam tape yesterday, or bought it on Amazon. Someone in Wix laughed at me for saying that because they'd never heard of it. And if you haven't heard of it, which I'm sure you probably have, is this. Just a sort of neoprene roll. Literally about a centimetre thick, which is exactly what I needed. A centimetre wide, sorry, not centimetre thick, and about 2 mil thick. It's just like neoprene, like a wetsuit, and that will just go along the edges of all of the cupboards where the sort of bed comes down and hits, and stop it from like banging around too much and making too much noise when you're driving, and also sort of finish off the edges nicely because there's a few odds and ends where the gaps are bigger than you'd want. So waffle and rant over, just waffle over, and I think we should get to it, shouldn't we? So as you can tell by the royal mess here, it's taken me a little bit of time to find out how to do this really. I thought it was just a switch, but it's slightly different with these push button ones. I've cut all the red, positive wires off because I don't need them. The negative will just be connected to switch the switch, and we don't need the lights to come on, so that's why I've cut those, make it a bit more simple for me and my non-electrical brain. So now I'm just going to connect all these up to the negative together. They will each power light in turn. I just tested it with the voltmeter, got a battery, got some spare lights, and I had 2 of these sitting around, and I've got an extra button, and I was like, what should I do with them? What I'm going to do is inside each cupboard have a light up on top that can shine down. You press the button and the lights come on in the cupboard. So that's pretty cool, pretty happy about that. Got an extra one here. This one will sit, drill a hole there, it will sit there so that when you come to the truck and you need to see, you can get these to come on by pressing that, and like everything will come on, rather than having to get in and walk all the way to over there where the other switches will be for everything. So hopefully I'll wire this into these two and that one at the same time potentially, so that you can just pop it on there and turn it on. I used to have one just here. Hey, look at those, these look good. And then I used to have one there and just switch it there, but here's a bit nicer. And check that out, Alex company there, cross-threaded. Very cool company. Alec and Daisy got nice clothing, so just go and check that out.
The whole video isn't a tutorial, it's just seeing how I did it and a bit of entertainment. If I could say don't follow me on any part of it, thankfully it's so fast you can't see what I'm doing, but electronics definitely aren't my game. Thankfully they work, but that's pretty much it.
So I've just marked up there that box where I'm going to drill and cut out a square so that the switch panel can go in there. That'd be nice. Up in here, just mounted up some lights there and in there. And those will be connected to the panel as well. Just a little afterthought at the end here. It's quite a handy sort of thing to have. Just to have some lights in there as well because it's quite dark. Gonna have the GoPro now and you can see what I'm doing. Cutting out this and putting the switch in.
This part really didn't go too badly. As you can see, I did nick the pie with the jigsaw though.
So just slotted that switch through, all the wirings in, and just loosely there for now, but that looks pretty cool. I think what I'll do is drill 2 small holes and put 2 screws in so that I can take it out quite easily, just in case you need to adjust anything. But yeah, really liking the look of that, that looks cool. So you just saw me slightly butcher the holes in there, but finally done. I found some quite cool screws in my dad's sort of bits collection box, which I've now got. And they're screws with a threaded insert, and it has a brass sort of dome thing you thread in after the screw, and it sort of neatens it off. I know it looks a little bit silly with the black buttons, but I quite like that really. It's a proper dad thing that he would have done, so that's nice. Really liking that. That's handy. Now I'm just gonna wire up the lights and the glow light under here and yeah, finish it off. Happy with that. I won't show you too much in here because it's pretty horrible. Ian at IRB, who is the master of wiring, well, I'll show you what he did. He did this nice side here, like that, really nice and neat. And that's my side there, so definitely not going to dwell on that. I'll sort that out one day. This is actually the test of the electrics in the back the first time. I've checked these work, the fog light works, the front spots work now. The diesel heater's powered up, not powered on, but they're ready to be powered on. Got my Jackery 1000 out here today. It's not quite 30 degrees. I think tomorrow or Friday it's meant to be 30 degrees, so I'm going to turn this off for now because you can hear that. So I've got the fan on today. Right, so oh goodness, I'm worried about this. Moment of truth. Way! Switch number 1. Lovely glowing light there. Switch number 2. Nothing. So I've fixed it now, which is good. We've still got this one working in there, which is that one. We've got the first one, which is working there, and then this one works now, number 2 there. What had happened is I have a hole here now, which was where the other light was, and something caught the wire and clipped it to the body, and it just meant it wasn't working. Basically cut the wire, so I had to like re-wire it. I couldn't get underneath here, so I had to take it out, and you can see there the wire's hanging down. Run it along here, and I've just put one there for now. Not even for now. Just one for there. These are more utility lights for when you come into the car and you need to see. I've also got one here which works well as well. You can see it lighting up in the bowl. That's all working now, which is great. But it's one of those days, you know, that stopped working, which is a bit boring. And the other thing that's now a bit annoying, which I didn't think of, is this. So I'm gonna have to either take this off and cut it out a little bit to fit that, or just do it in here. But I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? Oh dear. So there you go, got the Jackery in now. You see the little hooks there, one either side, that I'll put a piece of bungee around to hold it nice and sort of secure there. Another problem solved, which is this little notch I've just cut out. Not the neatest thing obviously, but it now means with the switch there, look at that, nicely misses that now, which is good, and can sort of be opened and closed, which is good. So yeah, happy with that. And as I said before, the switches now work, which is fantastic. Let's put this back on. Whew. So I started at 7:45 this morning and had electrics written down on the list, which I thought would be, you know, electrics, tick, done. But yeah, it's now 1:20. It's been a bit of a pain. Another thing which is good is this is in. God, that scared me. Yeah, I tried it earlier. That comes out of there, that plugged into there, and that will now work, which is great. That slides in there. You got the water tank there with the tap and the sink underneath, which is brilliant. I haven't tried the drainage of the sink yet. We'll try that at some other point. I'm gonna sort of maybe put a piece of bungee across here just to hold that in, you know, if it gets a bit rocky and shaky. So yeah, it's all looking good though. Just wanted to show you that in there in place, and hopefully that will, yeah, when it drips it will fall straight in there into the sink bowl. Very happy with that indeed. So just cut out this panel and insulated the back, and this is for the end bit here, and hopefully this is the first fitting I've done. It will just go in there. I've just carpeted it, which means it's a little bit tighter than before. There you go, roughly does the job. Happy with that. I've just completed the entry strip here. As you saw, drilled the holes, countersunk the screws in, cut this little bit out here. It's not the neatest job. Then cut a notch out to go in this thinner bit here. I could have just probably stopped it here, but actually I needed to have a front plate on this as well to so you can see that sort of stuff there, which you can still see there, which is a bit annoying. And then the top didn't look great, so I just used some more of this sort of finishing strip there as well. Obviously you can see the edge there, which is a bit of a shame, but trying to curve that around there wouldn't work. But from here it looks good. I'm very happy with that. So moving on. So there you go, I just made this sort of splash guard out of some stainless steel. It was quite rusty, so I had to sand it right back, and I got a sort of, that's the sort of effect I got with the sander, sort of almost brushed but swirly brushed, to take a little nick out of it there, which is a bit silly. But then just trim the edges up and smooth it all down, countersunk the holes and lacquered it now. I sprayed it with lacquer, put it in the sun for about an hour, so now it's protected from any rust as well, so hopefully that will help with any splashing. I just like the look of it as well. I think that's pretty cool. That little area is looking great. And another update is in front here, the headliner is now in as well. Had to take about 10 centimeters off the back because of this new shelf here, but that is now in and looking good. Just everything's coming together. Finally cracking the list. Just put the ORE panel up there. The mounting options that you get with the kit don't work for me at all, unfortunately, because obviously I've got this shelf up there now and a few other things that just don't work for it very well. So I just actually screwed it onto the shelf up the bottom and screwed it into the middle bulkhead there, but it's looking good. It's where it's meant to be, and it's finally up in the truck and not on the wall anymore, so that's really handy. Go check that out at ore4x4.co.uk. you can get those, and I think there's a lot more coming. You can have one for the whole back, and it stops all your luggage going forward, or if you work with your truck you have tools in the back that won't fly through, and you can also attach bags. And I'm probably going to put my fire extinguisher up on there, and it's already accessible, and also my the carbon monoxide alarm up there as well, so that'd be really handy, nice and safe. So good morning everybody, it's another bright, sunny, hot, boiling day in June, which is nice. Already making a mess. Today's, oh my god, the shoes, I know. Translated the sort of rest of the list onto today's stuff, and there's a few things on there. I just cut out the blinds for the side windows, so there it's quite nice and stealthy, and inside it's really stealthy as well. Looks quite good with them there actually. You could just leave them there anytime you want, and then you just pop them out, and then yeah, you can put them in the cupboard, whatever, wherever you need. You could even go up on the shelf, which is pretty good. But they're just sort of just a foam, as you can see, that green foam there, carpeted, and then I wanted black on the back, so I just used gaffer tape. Nice and professional job there, gaffer tape. Chuck that in there, and it just actually almost pops in using that little bar, and that could hold while you're driving. And it's the same on both sides. Nice straight edge there, but sort of misses the bolts, which is good, and it's held in by the two bolts down there. I like that. That's really good. I'm now thinking about this part, which is another thing to cover up. You either put a blind there in a similar way, or I was just thinking you could get a roller blind to go here to here. Just rolls down and clicks there. That could work quite well actually, and then just pop it up when you need to. Also, might do the same thing on this side, is just to have a roller blind all the way along. Just rolls down and clicks. I think that might be a nice way of doing it really. So I just went to the shops out for a bit, got a few other extra bits and pieces, including 2 roller blinds, one for the front and one for the back here. And also got some bungee, which I might put up here as well to sort of stop things from falling out. But for now, I've just put it down here because this, on the way, fell out completely and undid its cable and slid down, and water went quite a lot of places. So put a little brass knob, another thing that was Dad, which is nice, and a piece of elastic here tied up there, and then you just pop it over there, and hopefully I can imagine it will stop it from falling out, which is pretty good. That's a little nice little nook for it there, which is great. Got the GoPro out now, just going to do the rear blind. Don't need to cut that at all, but the front one's a little bit more complicated. Don't think I need to cut it, but I need to make some things down the side, sort of here and here, sort of like 10 centimeters thick, like pieces of wood to stop the light showing through. So that's next. So here we are, a little bit later on in the day. Feels like it's the evening in here because of the lights and everything like that. But I've put the blinds up finally. Got the roller blinds there, and you got a little triangle piece there that fills in the gap. And the same with there. It's not really the best solution, this. It definitely works for now. I quite like this. This side works well, I'd say. Having the roller blind here and these two either side that you can just take in and out. I like that side. And maybe this side I'll revert to having the curtain. Obviously now it's slightly lower here, so if you had the curtain there, it would hang down nicely below the bulkhead there. Before, it ran along a rail on the top of the bulkhead, which I didn't like, but you needed it to hold it down far enough so it actually wears black. This now, having the curtains there might be a bit better than this solution, but for now it works fine and looks quite good really. I'm liking the shelves I just put up. Shelf, little plant. These 2 shelves that were from Amazon were meant to come tomorrow, but they came today, so I put them up. And yeah, just testing out the lights. It's pretty good. Let's have a look at these. Yeah, they're good for just sort of getting in and out. These ones are very yellow, actually. This one's very yellow. And then you've got the cupboard lights. Look at that. Whoa. Yeah, I'm very happy with everything that's working at the moment. The Jackery, even though it looks like nighttime in here, is charging. Got 78 watts going in there from that one panel. It's a bit cloudy, but we've got 50%. We're going up. I used a fan with it all day. Actually, I'll show you that. I'll show you how the blinds work as well. This, I don't like this cord. I'll have to hide that away somewhere when it's not in use. That is a fan I bought in Homebase, and I'm going to try and adapt it to be up there for long distance journeys. Isn't in the way and looks pretty good. And, well, it doesn't look good at all, but it works pretty good. This is how the back one works, the same again. This one you can actually tuck up on the shelf pretty well. Let me open this, it's bloody boiling. Get that out there. Bang, there you go. So this one can actually just tuck up there. You know what it would have been better to do is to buy a blind that you can just, you know, the ones you just pull, and it locks. That would have been better, but I didn't realise it wasn't one of those, unfortunately.
So we're pretty much there. Everything's done pretty much in the truck, and now it's time to fill it with this camping stuff. As you can imagine, it took about an hour and a bit, and I was actually quite surprised with how well it all fit in. I obviously lost my 2 storage compartments that were there before, but these new ones are a little bit bigger, and with the added shelves above and the slight slimlining of camping gear, it's actually fitting in really well.
Something that I haven't tried on camera, and I wouldn't usually just run it into this like this. It's more of a drain, but there you go. That works nicely now, which is good, and no leaks into there, which is even better. It just goes down to the ground out there. Happy with that.
The cushions are upholstered in a lovely grey fabric, and a big shout out to my mum's neighbour Lizzie who did them for me. She's got a new venture into sewing and she did a great job, so please contact me if you need anything like this. She can help you out. At this point it all starts to really come together. The cushions just finish it off and it just makes it into a place that you want to be. So just a quick look at the compartments. This is the sleeping and blankets area. Behind the driver's seat is a cool box and a utility storage place. And the final one towards the door is food, cooker and a few other bits and pieces. Lots of space actually.
from how I've had it over the last few years, stripped back to how it was when I bought it, very dirty, utility spec and not ready for camping, into this. A lovely place that we can go and use, a much nicer place to be when it's raining, and just generally easier to take it out, and a place you actually want to spend time, which is really nice. I have to say I'm pretty happy with the way the whole build went. Usually I rush things, but this time I took my time. It's nice finally to use it up on the moors just for an evening to get a sort of shakedown of the sort of living conditions. Soon I'll be camping in it for the first time, and one day I'll do a full tour of all the ins and outs and answer any questions. So please leave any questions in the comments below and I can answer those.
My appetite, don't leave me here high and dry.